Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Taurus energy, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because it's not a personal reading. I don't know anything about your life, so we're just going to see what's going on in Taurus energy. And some people are going to harness this energy in a high vibe way because they harness high vibe Taurus energy. Some people are going to harness it from a more worldly focused Taurus energy, and some people are kind of shadowy, and so they're going to handle it different too. So, and the whole thing is, we all do tap into Taurus energy, so listen to where you're at in the story, and you know how your philosophy of life and what you value, because Taurus energy is about our philosophy of life and kind of what drives and motivates us. And so listen to where you're at in the story and listen to your intuition about where some other people are in the story. And you know, if you harness high vibe Taurus energy, you'd probably like to hang around some other people who do too. Okay. So the overarching reason for the reading of these two cards, well, these cards split in the middle of the deck, so then we have two underliers. The overarching reason for the reading is kind of, are we willing to learn lessons in life to face our fears and insecurities that keep us stuck and trapped and imprisoned and limited and oppressed and confined? And then when we have those fears and insecurities within ourselves, then we probably have people in our life that are happy that we live our life that way, at whatever way we're living our life, or they like it, that we're maybe more caught up in the world or our fear or codependent nature or ego, because they are too. And we generally hang out with people that, you know, we got some commonality with. We're kind of on the same page. The whole thing is, if we find out it's becoming kind of unhealthy and toxic, or we realize, gee, this keeps me from moving forward in my life in the Wheel of Fortune. Some people are motivated and inspired to do that work within themselves, to work on those issues, to look at the things they keep hidden in the dark. And when they do that, the Knight of Pentacles is offering the truth. They go within to learn the lesson, like, oh, that was because of this, or I had some unresolved pain and heartbreak, or oh, I didn't realize this about the situation, but now I do. And then it frees them in the Wheel of Fortune to move forward in life differently. And it's kind of like they get to go to the next phase of life because they've gained some insight and understanding. But there's other people who keep investing in what's unhealthy, or what limits them, what imprisons them, what manipulates them. And then the Wheel of Fortune means that, you know, we'll all reap what we sow, and there will be consequences for our actions. But people are moving forward right now based on what their truth is. If they're willing to face their fears and insecurities, to desire to free themselves, then that's what, you know, they're going to reap what they sow. The people who are like, no, I want to keep living life the way I've lived it, well, then that's how they're going to keep moving forward. They could think, you know, because us in our pride and ego, we think we're so smart, and we think this is the way to get what I want in life. But if we keep investing in things that aren't based on truth and love and justice and fairness and healing and growing and maturing ourselves, it's not going to quite turn out the way we planned. And other people, when they see something is kind of limiting and restricting and manipulating them, they do the work to free themselves from it. So, what's going on in Taurus energy? We have the Five of Pentacles, the Eight of Swords, the Knight of Swords, the Three of Cups, the Empress energy, the Ten of Wands. And the reason is all because people have a dream. The Two of Wands. I have something that I want. Well, what is their dream? Is that I want, you know, the Two of Wands is Aries energy. In shadow, Aries energy can be, I kind of want it to be more about me and the things that I want. Well, that's fine. If they're working on their career and bettering themselves and improving themselves, and they're maybe spending time not in like a romantic relationship with someone, well, that would be a good thing, because they're doing these things to work on themselves. But if they're in a relationship and they're more about me, because Aries energy is about the self, well, then they're kind of being selfish and they want others, people, to indulge them in whatever way they're being kind of selfish, which, well, I thought it'd be more about me. But anyway, some people have a lack mentality because they haven't learned to love themselves. They have a lot of fear and up in their head about maybe loving themselves and don't have confidence in themselves, don't believe in themselves. You know, they could have had people in their life, possibly a mother figure, or just people who they thought would be just and fair. The Empress energy is Libra Taurus energy. If we've had people in our life before who we thought would be just and fair, and in the Three of Cups worked together with us from a place of love, but then they were defensive to us, well, that can make us feel left out in the cold and have us up in a mental prison, right? Like, why don't they love me? Well, we have to, the truth sets us free. Virgo goes within, our own Virgo nature goes within to see the truth. Why did people act like that? Was I kind of having a lack mentality? Was I more about myself? Was I trying to manipulate people? Was I not really working together with them in love because I had fears and insecurities of being hurt? Was I overwhelmed? Was I wanting to be indulged? Was I emotionally manipulating people? Was I being defensive? Or was I inspired by love and I was dealing with people who are defensive to working cooperatively in love because they are the ones who want to be the privileged, pampered person in the relationship in some way, kind of indulged in some way? Or are they more driven by money and materialism and status and image? What is the truth? For a long time, we can stay in relationships with people, and we're putting in the Ten of Wands a lot of work and effort to inspire people in our life to love and believe in themselves, to work through their past pain and heartbreak that kind of makes them maybe operate in the Five of Pentacles, Taurus energy, more from their mind than their heart, or keep feeling left out in the cold or rejected by people, because we're going to go through life and there's going to be people who try to throw us under the bus and kick us to the curb. Are we going to stay there forever? Why didn't those people love me? Why didn't those people want to be my friend? Why didn't those people want to date me? I mean, we got to understand that not everyone wants to be our friend or date us, just like everybody we meet. You know, there's those certain things about certain people that makes us more drawn to them to be a friend and want to date them than other people. So we got to see the truth of that. Some people could have a hard time seeing the truth of that. Some people could kind of be in their ego, and if they're living more from their mind and their heart, they might think, don't people just mentally strategize about how to present themselves and how to act? And then if I do this and that, then these people should accept me. It's like, well, no. If someone's operating from shadowy energy and wants to be part of a group, well, that is groupthink, and high vibe energy is about being independent. And if those people are kind of shadowy people and kind of defensive to certain people, like only certain people can be in this group, well, maybe God's been trying to tell some people, why are you so desperate to be in that group? These people are kind of shadowy. And why are you up in your head about trying to get those people and so stressed out about those people accepting you? And we can all be drawn and attracted to people who reject us, who are unkind, unjust, prideful, defensive, manipulative. Why? Why do we think, as long as we think we need those people to like validate us or love us or something, we're going to keep being drawn and attracted to them because we have some lesson to learn about seeing the truth. And the truth should be that we should love ourselves, to stand up for ourselves and speak our truth. That, if there's people in my life who make me feel left out in the cold, who do things that maybe hoping to have me up in a mental prison about if they love me or if they like me, people who are loving people don't do that to other people. And why would I keep staying in relationship with people who would do that to me? Do I not love myself enough? And that's kind of the lesson that we learn. Why do I need these particular people or person to like me or love me? I don't need a particular person or group of people to want to be my friend or be in a relationship with me. I need to realize that I need to love myself first. And when I love myself and I'm like balanced within myself, the Empress energy, the feminine figures can talk about how we think and feel. And if we were in high vibe Libra Taurus energy, Libra is represented by the scales of justice. Am I tipped out of balance? Do I not feel good enough? Do I have fears and insecurities about myself? And if I could find a new job, a new friend, a new relationship? How about I do this work within myself? Because I certainly don't like being in relationships with people who make me feel left out in the cold and have me in a mental prison that make me feel overwhelmed. I wanted to do love. But sometimes when we aren't balanced within ourselves and we haven't learned to love ourselves, other people will try to take advantage of that. Like, oh, I see that you seem to really want to put in a lot of work and effort to this relationship. I like that. You keep doing that. And then they kind of abuse that you could be in codependent energy, or you're just a very loving, giving person who does put a lot of work and effort into a relationship, because that is also Taurus energy, where you put a lot of work and effort into a relationship, and it's hard for you to transition out of it. And it is Virgo energy that helps us transition out of that, because Taurus is a fixed sign where we get in something and we put a lot of work and effort to make it work. And then it's Virgo who says, that's like the earth sign that we tap into within ourselves next. And we can again offer insight and resources to people in our life to try to figure out why they're acting the way they act and why they're doing that. And then Virgo, though, also helps us see that the truth, this relationship has become too out of balance. And first, it starts within me. Why would I keep enabling someone in their poor behavior? Yes, I could love them. Yes, I thought I wanted a dream to come into reality. Yes, I thought they were going to be in my life long term. Yes, I used to view them as a loving, nurturing, supportive, encouraging person, but they're not being that way anymore. And I have to deal with the truth of what is, because the truth sets us free. And love requires justice and fairness and balance. People treating each other the way they like to be treated. And it starts within ourselves. So we do this work to love ourselves, to get balanced within ourselves. I have a dream. If I feel like I speak the truth and I operate from love and I treat people the way I like to be treated, then I'm bringing good things to the table. Why don't people appreciate what I bring to the table? Maybe because they also have their own lack mentality and fears of being in a more just and fair and balanced relationship. Everybody has their comfort zone, and some people like those out of balance relationships where, well, I liked it. We can have people in our life that we viewed as just and fair and loving and loyal and committed and all that. And some people like to play that role in our life. And they could almost be looking for, and you might know some people who do this in the world, you've come to see the truth of, that only like to like be in relationships with people who harness these energies in a shadowy way. Oh, do you feel left out in the cold? Oh, are you stressed about your dreams coming into reality? Oh, let me be your friend. Let me get in a romantic relationship with you. Ah, perfect. Now I have someone who's going to look to me like I'm this just and fair and nurturing and supportive person. And they can come across that way and actually kind of be that way because that's the role they like to play in people's life. But once you start to do this work within yourself, to work through your own fears and insecurities and loving and appreciating yourself, and you could even do it because you want them to be proud of you because you could kind of look up to and admire them. And so then you do this work within yourself because you want to be on the same level as them. You know, you don't want them to be disappointed in you. And then you do this work within yourself, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. Because they like that dynamic. Well, I'm going to go find someone else who feels left out in the cold and fearful and afraid about their dreams coming into reality, and then they're going to view me this way and I view myself this way. So they really kind of harness it in a shadowy way. Though initially they can come across as harnessing it in a high vibe way, but then they want you to stay there. No, you stay there. No, you keep feeling left out in the cold. No, you keep staying in all your fears and insecurities, because then you look to me as loving and you put a lot of work and effort and attention on me and look to me as like your savior and your savior, like I'm your God or something. And I like people who are codependent on me. But just because we could have been in that energy at one time in our life, and and that could have been the whole reason why this person came into our life. Maybe we did need loving and nurturing at that time to help us get to a place of more feeling balanced within ourselves and loving ourselves. But that's the thing. Some people can come into your life and they serve a purpose in your life at that time, but they're not meant. If they were willing to move forward with you in truth and love and adjust to the fact that people change. People don't always stay in their fear or their insecurity or their more codependent nature. And they're willing to kind of deal with whatever within them kind of bubbles up about kind of the relationship dynamic having changed. Because when one person in a dynamic of some sort changes, it ends up affecting the whole group. Because we had certain ways of being and patterns of ways of being, like, well, I'll do this and then you're supposed to say this and then I'm going to say that and then you'll act like this. And it's kind of like these games that we play and these ways of being in a relationship. Sometimes we can be in a relationship with someone and we never notice that they were really harnessing shadowy Aries energy. We could have thought that they were kind of like a good leader in their life. They were somebody we look to as someone is making good decisions in the relationship, regardless of what zodiac sun sign they are. How do they harness their Aries energy? And sometimes when we do this healing within ourselves and we're learning to get more balanced within ourselves and love and believe in ourselves, that's when we kind of see that they were kind of more about themselves. It was about kind of feeding their ego. And that's why they like to be in this type of relationship pattern where they try to go get in relationships with people who are either more codependent. And then when the people they get in relationship with kind of heal and get more balance within themselves, well, then that wasn't their dream. This was their dream. And for it to stay just like this. But life-giving energy is about people facing their fears and their insecurities and healing and growing and maturing themselves to go with the flow, to like go to the next stage of life. And it's kind of like a phase. Some people don't have a problem going with the flow. And it's like, no, I like this. And you were supposed to stay like you were. I was supposed to stay like I was. This was supposed to be the relationship dynamic. This was my dream relationship. I don't do I don't look at why I'm afraid to step out of my comfort zone or change how I view life or how I view relationships. This is the type of relationship dynamic I like, and this is how I want to live my life. And other people are like, well, I wasn't going to stay in my more whatever baggage I came into the relationship with, which we could have had some of the same baggage. Some ways of having grown up that are maybe more codependent, looking for someone to be like a mothering, nurturing person to us because we hadn't learned to be a mothering, nurturing person to ourselves. So we both could have been codependent. We both could have had relationships that hadn't worked out, that we felt left out in the cold from. We both could have been in a mental prison if our dream was going to come into reality. And then we get in a relationship with someone. And so long as everybody's willing to do this work together, a relationship keeps moving forward. And some people are doing that because they worked through their own fears and insecurities about going to the next stage of life, from the 8 of Swords to the 9 of Swords. Everybody, and the 9s are like, can be the completion of a cycle where people keep working through within each other their fears and insecurities about change and about going to the next level and overcoming that part of themselves that says, oh, can't we just keep doing it this way? But the whole thing is, if we're in relationships with people who have done some work within themselves, that are kind of ready for the relationship to mature itself, to have something that they want to kind of do differently in a way that is aligned with truth and love and justice and fairness and balance. If everybody's willing to do the work, to work through their own fears of change, well, then everybody does this work and then everybody moves forward together. But sometimes we can have someone in our life or someone at the workplace that just refuses to change because they could have so much fear of change, don't want to see the truth, that maybe they have some issues to work through about change. Or maybe, why are some people really reluctant to change? Probably because they benefit from things not changing. They could kind of emotionally indulge themselves, and maybe other people were kind of emotionally indulging them in some way, whatever way that is. Oh, I'm kind of manipulative. Oh, I'm kind of defensive. Oh, I'm kind of bossy and controlling. Oh, maybe I'm kind of lazy, and people kind of indulge me in my laziness. For some reason, there can be some truth they don't want to see. Or, Virgo energy is earth sign energy also. You have to invest time, energy, and effort to work through what makes you defensive to change, or doing things a little bit differently, or being more just and fair. Or for some people, it would just require them to speak their truth. Maybe for them to move forward differently, they would have to maybe even stand up for their more loving nature to their more shadowy nature of self, and say, when I make my life listening to my fears or my insecurities or my defensive nature, it just ends up leaving me out in the cold and up in a mental prison if my dreams are going to come into reality, because I keep aligning with my investing in my fear and my insecurity and my pride and my ego, because I have these fears of working together with people cooperatively from love. And at what point in time, if ever, are people going to stand up to their own shadow nature and say, you are not the boss of me? Whoa. Because it's really throwing their life out of balance. So when something like that happens, it's kind of like the Tower moment happens, where people see the truth. Other people aren't willing to stay in relationship with them. People don't want to keep employing them. Oops. I lost the key to the side to learning lessons from love. Well, maybe we'll find it along the way otherwise. So, that's maybe what some people... Oh, it was just on the mirror. Maybe... So the whole thing is, nothing's wasted in the world. Whatever we choose to do in our life, the keys on the mirror mean that we're kind of going to reap what we sow. Things are going to probably be mirrored back to us. And we're going to learn lessons either way. And life is all about learning these lessons. Are we willing, though, to learn the lessons? Or do we think we're the boss? And the scales of justice should be kind of tipped in our favor. Do we think there is no higher truth than us or the world? And that some people haven't learned, some people have gotten away with a lot of shit in their life. And maybe because in their Taurus energy, which is represented by the Hierophant, some people, present themselves like they're this pillar of society. They do all the right things kind of in the world to make people view them a certain way, because that's what shadowy Taurus energy is about. I'm going to do all this stuff, living more from my mind than my heart, to do all these things in the world so people view me a certain way. Isn't that what life is about? Don't I want people to view me a certain way in the world? Like I have this status and I have this image. Basically, the devil represents the world. I have these things of the world. I have these things of the world that people value and people want. I have this certain status and image. And some people think because, like we read in the newspaper, and all these people in the world that think because they have this status or image or money or whatever, that they can do whatever the fuck they want. They're untouchable. Or because they have this certain image or status, if they do certain things in the world that people don't know about, even if it comes out, it's like, that's all a lie. But the whole thing is, I think you could realize you were dealing with some people who are like that. They try to present themselves like this pillar of society, but that's not the truth of who they are. They haven't done the inner work within themselves. They are egotistical or self-centered, immature, indulgent. And initially, you might not have viewed them that way at all, but something happened to make you see the truth, and it caused you a lot of stress and anxiety because you were realizing you were dealing with someone that wasn't who they said they were. High vibe Taurus is like somebody who is a leader, who like a spiritual leader, and you realize that was just the image they present, that they have a lot of issues they need to work through. And even when you notice that initially, or saw signs of it, you could have put a lot of work and effort to be a loving, encouraging person in their life. But when it gets to be, and we don't have to, the thing is, sometimes we find that out when we're in a romantic relationship. Or, Taurus Hierophant can mean these workplaces, these families, these marriages. Eventually it becomes overwhelming, and we also can see that some people are just takers. Initially, we thought they were these loving, just, and fair people that walk the talk, high vibe Taurus energy. And then we realized that we're kind of the ones putting in all the work and effort to bring the love and the creativity and the balance and the joy, like connected in with our gifts that we've been given, that we use in an appropriate way. And then we realize that they're just kind of indulging themselves in it. And it's like, so the dream's never going to come into reality, right? Because you're never going to work through your issues to free yourself from it, to be open to giving and receiving love. So I'm going to put in a lot of work and effort to give you love and encourage you, but I'm not going to get that authentically back from you. And though it might look like our dreams are going to come into reality and like we have all these things of the world, am I willing to stay in a relationship with someone who I have come to see is someone who's more about indulging themselves, or shadowy Libra Taurus and the devil can be about money and materialism and status and image, that's what more drives you. And now that I've taken this job, gotten in this friendship, love you, or relationship or marriage, it's hard to transition out of it. We would like the jobs, the friendships, and relationships that we've invested in to work. But if it starts to feel like the people we're in relationship with, like they hold out their cup and say, fill me up emotionally, maybe they have their time, or you just maybe keep doing it because you might know they also have their fears and their insecurities or lack mentality, but it's like they poked holes in the bottom of the cup, so your job is never done because they never do the work within themselves with the love and encouragement you give them to work through their own issues. So it just stays like trying to fill a black void because they don't do the work within themselves to fill themselves up. And you might be a fount of overflow of love, but even someone whose fountain overflows ends up feeling overwhelmed and wondering if they're ever going to have it reciprocated. And that's an imbalanced relationship. What's the golden rule? Treat other people the way you like to be treated. And if we're offering love and respect to other people should in turn treat us with love and respect. Not just take. Not people who think that because of their fears or their insecurities should try to dominate or control over us, or try to get us in jobs and relationships, but then think they don't have to act with character and integrity because we'll be too fearful to leave, or we won't make that much money somewhere else, so they try to manipulate us or use the love that we have for them to manipulate us. That's not love. And that's not a just and fair work environment. And so eventually people see the truth. Who knows if they love me, but the whole thing comes down to, do I even love me? Am I willing to face my fears and insecurities to basically stand up for what I believe in? And that I choose love and justice and fairness and people acting with character and integrity. And if that's not how you're choosing to move forward in this relationship, then I see the truth that I need to free myself from something that I feel is manipulating me or unhealthy or trying to trap or imprison me, because that's what the devil does, right? Tempts you with these things of the world and then tells you you'll be happy. It's just like love. You don't have to heal and grow and mature yourself. Just indulge in these things. You'll be happy. Isn't that what you want anyway? And yeah, as a worldly being, in our earthly, worldly nature, there are these things of the world that we want. But at what price? Am I willing to live in a little bit of hell? Am I willing to give up my dreams? Am I willing to give up loving myself and being in loving, encouraging environments where people are creating a little heaven on earth? I have free will to do that, and I have free will to hang out with people who do that. Or in my fear and my insecurity and my codependency and my ego and my greed, I can hang out with people who are creating a little hell on earth, and I can hang out with them. That's how some people are going to keep living their life. Either because of their fear, or their insecurity, or their pride, or their ego, or their immaturity, or haven't learned to love themselves, or they're sure if they have those things of the world, and, they could know I have fear of love, There, I get hurt at a core level of self. And some people, though, the only person they do have love for, if you're nine swords up in your head, you only have one cup of love in your heart. And some people, it's all about them. Their wants, their needs, their lusts, their greed, their pride, their ego. If people aren't indulging them enough, well, I'm going to go find someone else to go get in a relationship. If I don't think this is going to have the money or the status or the image that I want, it'd be one thing if it's an employer, because just like employers will fire you or quit business or cut people on the drop of a hat, I think in jobs and career fields, work together with people cooperatively. But if you have an opportunity to advance your career or something you would find more enjoyable, whatever that could be, I think in a career that's different. But when you're in a romantic relationship, and the only person that these people focus on and love is themselves, they're definitely people who want to be indulged in some way. And it's really just all about them. And if there's someone else who they think will indulge them more or is more codependent so they can play this role in their life, or wants the things of the world that they have that they think will indulge them in a relationship in a way that you maybe are no longer willing to indulge them in that way because you want a more just and fair and balanced relationship and based on truth and love, they're like, hell no. It's all about me. Or it's all about the money, or it's all about being indulged, or it's all about hiding from the truth, conforming to the world. I was, all about creating this illusion about who I am. High vibe energy is about being independent and being authentically yourself in the world. And for some people, that's the scariest thing ever, to be authentically themselves. Let's go look at these two cards. We go through situations in life. Some people are just now going through them. Some people have already gone through them and have seen the truth and are defending themselves, and they're staying in high vibe Nine of Swords in that case, in Gemini energy. They see the truth that it's about letting high vibe energy of love and intuition guide my life, because I've previously maybe let my fear or my insecurity or my codependency or my over-loving nature run my life. And I'm facing my fears and I'm moving forward. You might have, the devil can mean a new job, can represent the things of the world, could be other people too. When we go, the saying, I'd rather stay with the devil I know than face the devil I don't know. Whenever we go step out of our comfort zone, go do something new in our life, face our fears, there's going to be new fears and insecurities that bubble up. It's kind of like playing the video game of life. We stay on a certain level of life until, like in a video game, that we conquer those obstacles and we've kind of mastered them. Well, some people are motivated and inspired to want to go to the next level of life, and they know there's going to be more challenges that come up on that next level. We have layers and layers of our worldly nature, like, oh wow, I had no idea I had that fear and insecurity. Oh wow, I had no idea. And that's what, moving forward in life, we could feel like, oh my gosh, I know, like we did at age 15. Oh my gosh, I know everything there is to know about life. I don't know why everybody has all these problems, and then as we keep moving through life, we realize how much we didn't know and all the different things that were buried within us. And some high vibe people are like, yeah, I'm willing to face the next level of life and whatever comes with it, because however I was living my life, and then some of the people anyway, that I could have been hanging out with, those people just have a different dream than I have. A kid, shadowy Taurus is more about the world and ego and image is what drives and motivates them. And that's what drives and motivates them. And that love is what drives and motivates me. So I realize that, they're going to keep investing in that, trying to find someone who might not have as much of the things of the world that they have in the Five of Pentacles, because an Empress energy, whether it's male or female, and with the Two of Wands, though, being a masculine figure, which just can be how people present themselves in the world. And it looks like maybe their dreams are going to come into reality, or they're taking action to, have these things of the world that they want. And they could be trying to find someone who's on the same page as them and views life that way, or they're just trying to find someone who they think doesn't have as much as they have, so they can try to manipulate them for that purpose, or someone who a relationship didn't work out, so they hope that they can manipulate them in that way, and then hoping that once they get them in the relationship, that they'll stay in it more because of the pride or the ego or the money or the materialism. And you could have some people who wanted to do that to you too. Some people are just going through it. The people who've already gotten out of it saw the truth of it. The other people are just maybe starting to do this work within themselves. Some people might communicate to some people in the world that they feel kind of in a way have freed themselves from it, that know how to free themselves from those things, which could even be people that they never, it could be people they're attracted to, but it could also be people that kind of challenge them, or it just could be scary for them to talk to some of those people for some. But let's go look at what these two cards are that aren't showing themselves. The King of Cups and the Six of Cups. So I view the King of Cups as Cancer energy and the Six of Cups as Scorpio energy. Some people know they have to free themselves and move on because they know they don't want to be in a relationship with people who harness shadowy Cancer, shadowy Scorpio, regardless of what zodiac sun sign they are. But it would be people in shadow who they think present themselves as like a loving family person in the world. Again, like the shadowy Hierophant Taurus. Look what a picture-perfect family we are, and look what a picture-perfect person I am. People should want to work with me. People should want to be in a relationship with me. But they use their emotions manipulatively, and maybe they learn that growing up from the people they grew up with. And shadowy Six of Cups can be people that are more emotionally shallow and superficial. Isn't it all about wearing this false mask and constructing by how we live our life of how we try to manipulate people for them to view us a certain way? So, because that is the most important thing, is how people view us in the world. It's kind of like these people who live completely fake lives. Does anything that they do, anything that they even give a damn about? Well, that's just what you have to do for people to view you a certain way. And it's really important for people to view me a certain way, because that's, people will then be friends with me and marry me and go into business with me. And I don't know, I'd rather live my authentic life myself. And, that's a thing, a part of the illusion. Some of these people who do that, they can't figure out why some people are kind of in a mental prison about moving forward with them. Why are you in a mental prison about moving forward with me? Look at this image and the status and everything I have. It's like, I know, but it all seems kind of fake. And you kind of seem superficial and shallow. And it's, I don't want to be friends with a fake person. I don't want to be in a relationship with a fake person. It's kind of like the devil trying to present themselves like I'm loving, I'm nurturing, I look at life from a higher perspective. I'm not selfish, I'm not greedy, I'm not prideful, I'm not egotistical, but they are. It's like, Have you done any work within yourself to deal with your issues about being a real human being? Why aren't you more authentically yourself? And for some people, if they were, when they see other people live their life like that, it's like, you are the devil. You challenge all my belief systems. I have made my life all about conforming to the world. And you're like being an authentic, real person. Yeah. We live in a world of duality. People live their life like this and people live like their life like that. We think they're kind of toxic. They think we're toxic. Well, you're not conforming to the world. Well, you're not, Taurus Hierophant can be all those rules and regulations in our head. Some high vibe people got it simple. Truth, love, justice, fairness, character and integrity, self-discipline so I don't act in these immature, petty, prideful, egotistical, arrogant, immature ways of being. The other people got all these rules and regulations. It all depends maybe on who they're around, what they act like. Because it's all like putting on a show. Other people are living their authentic life. And some people are in a mental prison because they did get in a relationship with someone who is authentic and loving and warm. And they could have found that overwhelming because it challenged their belief system. And that was scary. And for some people, I don't even want to deal with why this bothers me and why this scares me. Maybe because they've had people in their life that they loved, that they could have known since childhood, could have been people in their own family, friends, whoever. And they viewed those people as loving, but it challenged them, which those people could have been loving in a lot of ways. But it challenges the fact that maybe those people were a little more emotionally shallow and superficial, that maybe those people, it could have been enjoyable to grow up with them, had lots of fun, but it was kind of more superficial and shallow. It maybe was more about the ego and the image, and all of that really could have, when we're ready to see the truth, we will, and some people will never be willing to see the truth. And some of those people is like, nope, I am not willing to see the truth of some people I might love that might have some shadowy traits and characteristics or more worldly, and I never used to view them that way, and this kind of challenges my belief system. If I keep moving forward with you, I'm gonna have to deal with the truth of it. Or for some of them, it's just that it was so scary because they could really get hurt at a core level, and we have no guarantees in life. We don't know what's going to happen in life. But some people, it's kind of like they don't want their more authentic nature to come and play out in the world. Kind of like, I don't know if I could pick myself back up if I got thrown under the bus or kicked to the curb or the tires went flat on moving forward in life and have to abandon ship. And if they don't think they can pick themselves up again, we're all going to do what we think we're prepared for to maintain balance within ourselves. And some people weren't willing to move forward and kind of offer love to the past, just kind of reconcile themselves with the past, to accept the fact that everybody is where they're at. We could have had people in our life who weren't maybe as authentic or as loving or just or fair or balanced, or maybe was kind of manipulative or bossy or controlling, and that was our life experience, and we viewed it and defined it as love. And maybe then when we meet some other people in the world, we can kind of see how that was a little shadowy in some ways, like maybe a little manipulative, maybe people had to indulge someone a little bit. And if people aren't ready to see that truth or haven't reconciled themselves with the past or haven't learned to love themselves, to get balanced within themselves, to be willing to step out of their comfort zone to face their fears and insecurities. They're not. And some of those people, it was just too overwhelming. And again, they just at a stage of life, which they might stay at forever, where, it does come across as very selfish, where if they really haven't, if emotionally they're just more about themselves, they really don't have love to give to others, and they are more about themselves and ego and image and materialism or something. And they're really not someone who is connected in. They might, we don't really have it here. Well, I guess here we have Cancer. Just which I think is when you use your emotions manipulatively in the relationships that you're in. Anyway, I think we'll leave it there. And what they didn't know about some of the people that they got in relationships with is that they have reconciled themselves with the past. They are emotionally balanced. Are authentically who they say they are. They weren't wearing a false mask, and they do want deep, meaningful relationships. Like, shit, I got in these relationships, I could have gotten in a relationship with someone who might have been more, at one time, more codependent or didn't love and believe in themselves. And shit, they freed themselves. I didn't think that would happen. And then they could have decided, you know what, maybe I'm going to go get in a relationship with someone who's more on the same page as me, who I think might be more aligned in their Virgo, Capricorn energy, and Taurus, who I think might wear more of a false mask and kind of be willing to repeat this pattern with me and make their life more about ego and image and money and materialism. And for some of those people, they are going to move forward with those people. Or they could have still thought that this person maybe would wear more of a false mask and kind of work more cooperatively with them in a relationship, and maybe the other person wasn't. And they were kind of more like, well, I have my own ways of my idea of the dream life, and I'm kind of more about even being more I want to be the more indulged person. That's the hard thing when we get two shadowy people together. If one of them isn't more hopeful and believing in love, they could both be people. It's like, well, I have my own ideas of what it means to be in a relationship, and I have all my fears and insecurities, and I view myself a certain way, and I like people to indulge me in how I view myself. And I kind of like people to indulge me in my view. And the other person's like, oh, well, I like people to indulge me. And the other one's like, oh, but I'm used to people indulging me. And then they could decide that's overwhelming. So then they go back and maybe decide I'll go back to try to find someone who I think is loving, who I think I can manipulate. And then this whole scenario could play out again. They never want to see the truth. That they have some shadowy ways of being in a relationship, but they don't want to see the truth of it. And then people get in a relationship with them, and after a while, if those people do this work within themselves, they're willing to detach from them because of those shadowy ways of being. What's coming up for the high vibe people that they might not see coming up? The Queen of Wands. Why? Because of the Knight of Cups. So this is a process, and the Queen of Wands, again, the queens talk about how we think and feel, regardless of if you're male or female. But the reason they're doing this is because they did take action in the world to offer themselves love, to offer love to their own worldly egoic nature, to free themselves from it, to choose to be in life-giving energy of high vibe Leo, high vibe Pisces. I'm no longer investing in the illusion. I'm no longer investing in other people who are living more from their worldly egoic nature than their more intuitive, hopeful, believing, loving nature. And that's who I am. And those are the people I want to invest in. And as you move forward in this, you're going to get to that place where you are more in your life-giving energy of love and believing in yourself and overcoming your fears and kind of shining your light and feeling more confident within yourself and going to look to go invest in people who are on the same page as you. And as you move forward, there's going to be other people that are going to want to invest in you because they see you have detached from things in your life and people in your life and the world that tried to manipulate and control you and make your life more about ego and image or codependency or whatever. And high vibe Leo is being authentic. And you know that you've learned these lessons, you've healed, you've grown, you've matured yourself, you've learned to love yourself. And there's other people who have detached from people like this, who are looking for people like that, just like you're looking for people who've learned those lessons and don't want to be indulged or indulge someone else that has been illuminated to the truth that it's about treating other people the way I like to be treated and treating other people and operating in your life, letting love and intuition guide your steps instead of your fear or your insecurity or your pride or your ego. What's coming up for the people who harness a more worldly or shadowy Taurus energy that they might not see coming up? The Star card, because of the Two of Wands. Well, for one thing, if people they're going to see other people who believe in their dreams. And why do they believe in their dreams in high vibe Aquarius energy? Because they harness high vibe Aries energy. They are bold and brave and confident to, when I see something is unjust, unfair, toxic, unhealthy, I don't let my fear and my insecurities of what could be. I don't think God wants my life plan, my divine inheritance wasn't to live in hell. My life, my divine inheritance is to free myself from that. But I have to get out of my ego and my fears and my insecurities to keep believing in my dreams. And some of these people who never do that thought that they could keep tempting people with these things of the world. Aren't you in your fear? Aren't you in your insecurity? Can't I tempt you in your lust and your greed and your pride and your ego and your more immature, impulsive, codependent nature? And some of you might, I think loving people offer love and encouragement to other people for them to love and believe in themselves. Some of those people will do this work within themselves to free themselves from what manipulates them. Some of them won't. As the high vibe people are moving forward, other people, because there's going to be different people who are drawn to you and attracted to you. And I think you're going to listen in the Knight of Cups, which is Pisces energy. And again, the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Cups is about connecting in with your intuition. There's going to be some people are going to try to tempt you with these things of the world, appeal to your pride, your ego, your competitive nature, and all those other things I mentioned. But they could be hiding that they're wearing a false mask and just want to repeat a pattern of the past. And you will listen to your intuition about who to wish peace and love to, and I'm moving on. And other people have seen the truth, have done this inner work within themselves. They will tell you the truth about the lessons they've learned, and they're not wearing a false mask or wanting to repeat a past pattern. Who might be someone you have known, someone you haven't known. Initially, they might just want to get to know you in the Knight of Pentacles, and they're kind of hiding the fact that they view you as someone that they think they'd like to be in a relationship with. But initially, it's just to get to know you. But they might think that. And you're just going to listen to your intuition. And now you've learned these lessons in life that when your intuition says, I don't care how much they smile in my face, I think they're evil, or I don't think they're who they say they are, or blah, blah, blah. You've learned to listen to your intuition. And so some of these people who thought they could keep tempting people or manipulating people or confuse people about the truth of who they are or make them not love and believe in themselves, those people right now, what they didn't see coming is that people would believe in their dreams and that they'd go take action to believe in their dreams. This is like someone in a situation. Do I believe in my dreams? Am I willing to face my fears and insecurities? And then the difference between the 2 and the 10 of Wands is the 8 of Wands, which is moving forward and communication and higher learning. And for a long time, people could give up. That just seems like too much work. Or I do have these fears and insecurities, or do I believe in myself? Do I believe in love? And then eventually they might take action on it. But high vibe people are going to keep moving forward because they know people have these things to work through. Anybody that they meet is like, I'm just going to keep moving forward and, meeting more people in the world, focusing on my job, my career, my life. And if people decide I am someone they want to invest in and the people I meet, I'll, get to know them. But I'm not going to stay in toxic energy, like waiting for someone to make me an offer. That would be someone who I'm letting manipulate me. If they're not bringing things into reality, and some of those people won't make you an offer because they're stressed that you know the truth. And they might not want to speak the truth, or they know the truth of people who are like them, and that really is the type of person they are, or that in the past they were more kind of wearing a false mask, a little more emotionally shallow, superficial, more about money or ego, or had this viewpoint of relationships or wanting to go indulge themselves to a degree. But, we can all forgive people for human fallibility to a degree. And then we know the people in our life who were really all about themselves and definitely showed us they were very materialistic and they got a lot of issues. Other people were just regular human beings who had their issues that we all struggle with, And if those people, but even those people could have a problem kind of admitting the truth. We need to get out of our pride and ego. Are we willing to do that? Are we willing to do love and face our fears about doing love and listening to our intuition? Or are we going to live more from our mind that we should do is practical and logical? I could be in a relationship with these people. I could live my life like this. Then I wouldn't ever run a risk. It's like, yeah, if you want to keep living a more fake, superficial life, go ahead. If you want to do a deep, meaningful relationship, then you got to face your fears. Another thing they might not see coming is there are probably people in the world who do want to be in a relationship with them. But they might want to be in a relationship with them more for the ego or the image or the status or the money and materialism. And they're really about themselves. And then they could get in a relationship with someone who's just like them. And both people might be up in their head. They both might stay in it because of their fears and insecurities and don't want to do love. Or they might get in it and then it's like, well, does this person even love me? But it looks like we have everything we want. They seem to wear a false mask. They seem to want to stay in the relationship. They seem to be codependent. It's kind of like shadowy people want other people to love them because they think, they love themselves to a degree of self-centeredness. And they think other people should think they're God. I just think the shadowy people are going to have someone who comes into their life who might be just like them. Materialistic, egotistical, self-centered, thinks everybody else should put aside their pride and ego in the relationship, but never them, because it's really all about them. And maybe they'll have someone who comes in, and if that person has more of the things of the world that they want, well, I think people in shadowy energy think, well, whoever's got more of those things of the world, is the person who should kind of be indulged, and then they might have to indulge someone and let it be all about them. And then, you know, you'd think maybe at one point, does it ever make you question your belief system that maybe it should be equal give and take? Maybe people should treat each other the way they like to be treated. But again, that could have not been how they were brought up, or somewhere along the line how they view life. And it's kind of like whoever's got more of the things that someone else wants, then you kind of kiss their ass. And they might be willing to kiss the ass of the devil because it makes them look like they're a shining star in the world. And that's what they're willing to do, kind of like selling their soul, rejecting their own loving nature and loving people, maybe hanging out with people who are bossy, controlling, abusive. But it makes them look like they're victorious in the world, and that's the most important thing to them. So there you go, Taurus energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.